Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's Oscar, and we're gonna quickly talk about what we could potentially see coming into this next week. So, as we know, last week wasn't the greatest of weeks. There was tons of red, tons of bleeding, and everything like that. And this week could potentially be the same thing because we have a few more Fed meetings or Fed talks this week. CPIs coming out this week, as well as PPI, and then core retail sales on Friday. Jerome Powell is speaking on Tuesday, and then Brainard is speaking on Thursday. So kind of an iffy week, but as we saw on last week, for example, let's look at QQQ real quick and SPY. They both ended the day off on Friday in the red. And I don't know, like you see, QQQ did peak at 385. Dropped, that was in the first hour, and then dropped all the way down to 378 before coming back up to 379 before when it opened at 384. So down $4 on QQQ, even after hours, down 3% or 0.03%. Same thing with SPY. Great start to the morning and then just dipped, and then obviously just stayed kind of flat the whole rest of the day, and then down into after hours as well. Last week, SPY was up big time, but SPY was up big time. QQQ was up big time. So those are things to look out for. Consumer input CPI is coming out. Bank earnings are mainly on Friday. Here we go. Inflation data will be focused on this week. Investors set to receive the Bureau of Labor Statistics latest CPI as the Fed Reserve's next monetary policy moves remain in focus. Quarterly earnings season also ramps up as some of the big banks report earnings. And if I'm not mistaken, most of these big banks are going to be reporting earnings on Friday. I believe it was Thursday, Friday, most likely Friday was the majority of them. So if there's any type of upwards movement, it's probably going to be on Friday. I'm not expecting too much upward movement in the beginning of the week. There might be a little small push, but as we saw last week, things went down pretty hard and pretty quickly. So we could see the same thing happening this week. NASDAQ is quietly being shredded with new data, says nearly 40% of the stocks on the exchange have been cut in half. And that is here, percent of stocks. Some of the largest tech sell-offs have been in momentum favorites among traders. Streaming media player Roku has its stock crash 40% in the last 3 months. Moderna's down 30%. And the NASDAQ is, I wouldn't say it's mainly built up. I guess it is built up of a lot of stock or tech stocks. So here we go. Tech stock heavy NASDAQ is being shredded, and it does say that 40% of them. So that's interesting. You think about QQQ. QQQ is the NASDAQ 100. So if the NASDAQ's going down, QQQ's going down. And like I said, in the next week could potentially keep going down. Here it says that risk bubbles are deflating everywhere, which I'm not exactly sure because crypto is coming down. Bitcoin did hit 69 up here. This morning, I believe when I looked at it, it was at 42. And then I think last night or somewhere early morning, it was somewhere around 40K. So definitely came back up. Although there's a potential that Bitcoin and everything, if SPY and the NASDAQ and S&P and everything keeps going down, Bitcoin will potentially keep going down as well. So something to look out for. But as far as things dropping, could be clear as Monday if things are going to keep going down, but more likely after Jerome Powell's speech. And if we do see more downside, where will that support be? As far as PC stuff, there's a PC slowdown sets a new battleground for chip makers like Intel, AMD. After a spectacular run, computer sales are expected to cool off significantly. Rivalry in PCs among the two chip makers goes back decades. According to Mercury, AMD accounted for 21% of the central processor chips, and in the third quarter, more than 8% of that. Let's see, there's a Wall Street Journal one, so I can't read that, but it's AMD and Intel basically. Then we have here Federal Reserve, like I said, Tuesday, Jerome Powell speaks. commercial paper, but there should be CPI on Wednesday. Commercial paper, the CPI will be here on Wednesday the 12th. JPOW speaks on the 11th, and then Brainard speaks here on 13th. And then, like I said, we have what is it? Core retail sales on Friday, which isn't shown here, but it is happening on Friday. But let's take a quick look here. I'm not too much of a technical analysis person, but here's SPY. I believe this, where are we at here? So how we touched here, came up. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I think that this is a trend line here. This trend line is basically been a upwards trend line. If we're gonna have to touch this. If we touch this, it'll be somewhere around 463. So SPY definitely has room to keep going down. If it touches this and keeps going down, we might be going somewhere around, let's say 455 or somewhere around there. And the same thing is going to be with QQQ. So if we look at this, I'm not sure why that moved, but this should be up here like so. QQQ is technically on this line, and if we look here, if we even move it down just a slight bit, so it's touching there and touching there. These are both on daily charts. If we look here, QQQ is going to basically get to 376, and like I said, if it doesn't hold 375, 376, then there's definitely room to go down. So how much room to go down, that's the question. I'm not exactly sure, but all these signs of basically what happened last week are going to be into basically going to have to be in thoughts of coming into the next week. We have more talks, more negatives and more reds and more market sell-offs. People are probably realizing they need to get out of things before everything keeps going down so they can buy in cheaper, either that or save and average down. But that's all in the talks for this week. Could see more red. I believe we're going to be seeing more red. So puts might be on puts are definitely going to be on the charts or on my radar. So learned last week that calls were a great option, which turned out not doing too well. So SPY and QQQ puts probably this week. And like I said, if they do end up going down, let's say if you only had one or two contracts, those contracts are still going to do relatively well. You don't need to you don't need to load up on those contracts. Contracts move pretty quickly on QQQ and SPY. So even if you're one or two contracts in, you'll still be able to make a decent return if they do go in your favor. So just some things to look out for in this next coming week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, comment down below what you think, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Lets me know there's new people watching the videos, and the community just keeps growing. So thank you for watching once again. It's been Oscar, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.